The galactic hegemony ruled the stars for 10,000 years. Their warships crossed the void between solar systems with ease. Their technology allowed them to conquer any species that opposed them. No civilization had ever challenged their rule. Until now, Commander Zelthrak stood on the bridge of the Sovereign Might, the largest vessel in the hegemony reconnaissance fleet. The tall, gray-fleshed alien gazed at the view screen with all four of his eyes. Behind him, the bridge crew worked in silence, monitoring their stations. "We have detected unusual energy readings from the third planet in this system," said Science Officer Vril Kax, her voice clicking in the formal dialect. Her slender fingers moved across the control panel, bringing up detailed scans. "It appears to be a developing civilization, but something is strange about their technology." Zelthrak nodded. "What is unusual about it?" "These readings suggest they have achieved faster than light travel, but their other technologies are centuries behind. Such an advancement, it does not follow the normal development pattern that is indeed curious," said Zelthrak. "Show me their vessels." The view screen changed to show a sleek silver ship moving through the darkness of space. Its design was unlike anything in the hegemony database. Clean lines and unusual energy signatures surrounded the vessel scan it ordered. Zelthrak Vril Kax activated the advanced scanning array. The hegemony technology could analyze everything from weapon systems to the biological makeup of crew members. The process would take several minutes but would reveal every secret the alien ship held. Meanwhile, aboard the USS Defiance, Lieutenant Elaine Frost stood with perfect posture on the bridge. Her dark hair was pulled back in a regulation bun and her uniform was spotless. She had served in Earth Space Command for 15 years, rising through the ranks with determination and skill. Now she commanded humanity's most advanced warship. "Lieutenant, the sensors are picking up energy readings," said Communications Officer Lori Dawson. She was younger than Frost, with short blonde hair and keen eyes. "They seem to be scanning us." Frost nodded calmly. "Let them look," she said. "Keep our shields at standard power. Do not take any aggressive actions." Tactical Officer Diane Russell frowned, her hand hovering over her console. "Do you think it's wise to let them scan us, Lieutenant? We don't know their intentions." Frost turned to face her crew. The Earth Space Command had created the Defiance after the destruction of the research vessel Horizon 6 months ago. That unprovoked attack had changed everything. Humanity had learned they were not alone in the universe, and that some aliens were hostile. "We need information, Russell," she said. "They attacked the Horizon without warning or communication. We won't make the first move, but we will be ready. Engineer." Kelly Winter's voice came through the communication system from the engine room. "The experimental shield modifications are operating at peak efficiency, Lieutenant. If they try what they did to the Horizon, we will be ready." Frost nodded. "Thank you, Winters. How is the chameleon hull performing?" "Better than expected. The absorption rate is at 90%. If they hit us with energy weapons, we can redirect almost all of it." "Good work," said Frost. "Return to your station and monitor the systems on the hegemony vessel." The scan results were beginning to appear. Vril Kax studied them with growing concern. The human ship had obvious weapon systems, but they were primitive compared to hegemony technology. The propulsion system, however, was something entirely new. It used principles that hegemony scientists had theorized but never successfully implemented. "Commander, I have the preliminary scan results," said Vril Kax. "Their weapons are basic energy projection and physical projectiles. Their shields are unusual but not particularly strong." Zelthrak looked disappointed. "Is that all? Nothing to explain how they achieved faster than light travel?" Vril Kax hesitated. "No, Commander. There is more. The biological scans of the crew show something I have never seen before. I need to analyze this further." "Continue scanning," said Zelthrak. "I want to know everything about these humans before we decide how to proceed." The Defiance continued its patrol through the outer reaches of the solar system. Lieutenant Frost reviewed the sensor data. They had detected the alien vessels as soon as they entered the system, but had maintained their course, pretending not to notice. They needed to learn as much as possible about these mysterious aliens. Lori Dawson looked up from her station. "Lieutenant, They are still scanning us, but the pattern has changed. They seem to be focusing on our life support systems and the crew quarters. Frost frowned. That was strange. Most scans would prioritize weapons engines and shields. Why would they be interested in the crew? Send the data to Dr. Harris in the science lab, she ordered. Tell her I want her analysis as soon as possible. On the Sovereign Might, Vrilkax stared at the scan results in disbelief. Commander, she said, I need to speak with you privately. Xelthrak followed her to a small chamber adjacent to the bridge. The door sealed behind them, ensuring their conversation would remain confidential. What have you found, Vrilkax? He asked. She displayed the scan results on a private screen. The humans' technology is indeed primitive in many ways, but look at their biological readings. The screen showed detailed scans of the human crew members. Their neural patterns, DNA structure, and physiological systems were all mapped in precise detail. Xelthrak studied the display. I do not understand. What am I looking at? These humans, Vrilkax said, her voice quivering. They should not exist. Their biology defies our understanding of evolution. Their neural patterns show extraordinary adaptability. They can form new connections even in adulthood. Their bodies contain chemicals that would kill any hegemony species, yet they function normally. They have redundant organs, and their skeletal structure could withstand impacts that would shatter our bones. Xelthrak stared at her, the implications slowly dawning on him. Are you saying these humans are dangerous? Vrilkax looked at her commander with all four eyes wide. They evolved on a death world, Commander, a planet that should not be able to support advanced life. Their gravity is higher than anything our species could survive. Their atmosphere contains corrosive elements. Their world experiences temperature variations that would kill any of our people. And yet they thrived. They built a civilization. They reached the stars, but their technology, Xelthrak began, is not their strength, she interrupted. Their biology is. They are living weapons, Commander, and they have built a warship. Vrilkax trembled as she continued to explain the scan results to Commander Xelthrak. The human neural patterns are unlike anything in our database, she said. Their brains form new connections constantly, even in adulthood. Our species and all others in the hegemony have specialized neural pathways that develop during childhood and remain fixed, but humans, their minds never stop adapting. Xelthrak studied the data with growing concern. What about their physical capabilities? Vrilkax displayed more scan results. Their muscular system can increase in strength when regularly stressed. Their skeletal structure can repair itself after breaking. Their blood contains cells specifically designed to fight microscopic invaders. And these chemicals, she pointed to a section of the display. These are stress hormones. The levels in their bodies would kill any hegemony species. But for humans, these chemicals enhance their performance. How is this possible? Xelthrak asked. They evolved on a world that tried to kill them at every turn, Commander. Their planet has extreme temperature variations, intense gravity radiation, and countless predators. Their bodies are designed to survive conditions that would be fatal to us. Xelthrak paced the small chamber. This explains why they built a warship. They are naturally aggressive. Not exactly, Vrilkax said. The scan shows something even more disturbing. They have evolved both aggressive and cooperative traits simultaneously. Their social bonds drive them to protect each other. They will sacrifice themselves for their group. A combination we have never seen before. Meanwhile, aboard the USS Defiance, engineer Kelly Winters was examining the sensor readings from the alien ships. The 32-year-old had designed most of the experimental systems on the Defiance, including the revolutionary chameleon hull. She had graduated top of her class at the Space Engineering Academy and had been personally selected by Earth Command for this mission. They are still scanning, us, Lieutenant Winters reported, looking up from her console. But there's something odd about it. They are focusing on our life support systems, not our weapons. Lieutenant Frost frowned as she reviewed the data on her command screen. That doesn't make strategic sense. Unless they are not looking for weapons, suggested Tactical Officer Diane Russell. Maybe they are trying to understand us. As Dr. Amelia Harris, the ship's chief science officer, entered the bridge. Her expression was serious. Lieutenant, we Need to talk? She said. I analyzed the scan patterns from the alien vessels. They are not just examining our ship, they are studying us. Our biology. The revelation hit Frost suddenly. They are not afraid of our ship, she said slowly. They are afraid of us. Harris nodded. These scans are incredibly detailed. They are mapping our neural patterns, examining our DNA, even analyzing our hormone levels. Communications. Officer Lori Dawson turned from her station. Lieutenant, I am picking up communications. Between their vessels, I can translate it all, but they keep using a phrase that translates roughly as biological anomaly. Frost considered this information carefully. What are they doing now? The alien fleet is maintaining its distance, Sensor Officer Samantha Gray reported. They haven't made any aggressive moves yet. Keep monitoring them. Ordered Frost. Winters, how is the chameleon hull functioning? At peak efficiency. Winters replied, the system can absorb and redirect energy from most types of weapons. Based on our simulations, we won't know for sure until it's tested in combat. Be ready. Frost said to her crew, I don't want to start a fight, but I want to be prepared if they decide we are a threat. On the hegemony flagship, Zelthrak had called an emergency meeting with his command staff. The scan data had caused unprecedented alarm among the officers. We should destroy them. Immediately, said Weapons Officer Tarsek. These humans are too dangerous to be allowed to spread beyond their system. Science Officer Frilkax shook her head. We do not know enough about them yet. What if they have defenses we haven't detected? The scan shows their ship has unusual energy absorption properties. Communication Officer Melvax clicked her mandibles nervously. Perhaps we should attempt to communicate with them first. Learn more about their intentions. Zelthrak considered his options. The hegemony had ruled the stars for 10,000 years by eliminating any potential threat before it could develop. But something about these humans gave him pause. Send a communication to the High Council, he decided. I want their input before we proceed. Continue scanning the human vessel. I want to know everything about their capabilities. Back on the Defiance. Lori Dawson detected. The transmission, Lieutenant. The alien flagship is sending a communication to another location. The energy signature suggests it's a faster-than-light transmission. Frost nodded. They are reporting to their superiors, she said. This could be good. Or bad for us. Dr. Harris, what have you learned about their biology? Harris displayed her findings on the main screen. They appear to be an insectoid species. Their exoskeleton suggests they evolved on a low-gravity world. Their neural pathways are highly specialized, which means they excel at specific tasks but lack our adaptability. They have no natural immunities to most Earth pathogens. And what about their technology? Frost asked. Their ships use an energy signature we have never encountered before. Winters said, studying her readings. Their hull material is unlike anything in our database, but there is something strange. Their life support systems seem designed for very specific environmental conditions. They have almost no adaptability. It could be an advantage, Russell suggested. If their biology requires such specific conditions, they might be vulnerable to environmental changes. Frost considered this information. The more they learned about these aliens, the more it seemed that humans and the hegemony species had evolved in completely different ways. Humans had developed on a planet that demanded adaptability and resilience, while these aliens appeared to come from more stable environments that allowed for specialization. I think I understand why they are so interested in our biology, now, said Frost. To them, we must seem impossible, creatures that can survive conditions that would kill them instantly. The scan continues. Lieutenant Gray reported. They seem particularly interested in your neural patterns now. Frost raised an eyebrow. Mine, why, Doctor? Harris studied the incoming data. They might be analyzing our command structure, she suggested. They seem to be comparing the neural patterns of everyone on the bridge, but focusing on. Here's Engineer Winters' voice came through the communication system. Lieutenant, I have been monitoring the energy fluctuations in their scanning beam. I think I can use it to gather more information about their systems. Do it, Frost ordered. But be careful, not to trigger any alarms. In the engine room. Winters made subtle adjustments to the ship's sensors, piggybacking on the alien scan to collect data about their vessels. The chameleon hull was absorbing small amounts of the scan energy, and she could Use that to create a connection to their systems. It was risky, but the potential intelligence gain was worth it, on the sovereign might. Vrilkax noticed the anomaly in the scanning beam. "Commander," she said, "the humans are using our scan to examine." Zelthrak hissed in surprise. "How is that possible? Our scanning technology is far beyond their capabilities." "I do not know," Vrilkax admitted, "but they are definitely collecting data from the energy return. This suggests a level of adaptability and ingenuity we did not expect." Weapons Officer Tarsek moved to his station. "We should terminate the scan immediately," he said, "and prepare to attack." "Wait," ordered Zelthrak. "What exactly are they learning about us, Vrilkax?" "Analyze the data. They appear to be collecting information about our life support systems, our communication protocols, and our sensor capabilities. Nothing about our weapons or defenses." "Interesting," said Zelthrak. "They are as curious about us as we are about them." "The High Council has responded," announced Communication Officer Melvac. Zelthrak moved to the private communication chamber to receive the message. The face of High Counselor Zenvox appeared on the screen, her ancient features grave. "Commander Zelthrak, we have reviewed your preliminary data on these humans. The Council is deeply concerned. Your orders are to continue observation but prepare for immediate action. These humans represent a potential threat unlike any the hegemony has faced. Before we decide their fate, we must know everything about them and their capabilities." "I understand," High Counselor Zelthrak replied. "One more thing," Commander Zenvox added. "Under no circumstances are you to allow them to discover the location of any hegemony worlds. If they attempt to follow you, you must destroy them. The risk is too great." The communication ended, leaving Zelthrak with a sense of foreboding. The hegemony had encountered thousands of species in its long history, but never one that caused such immediate concern among the Council. These humans, with their death world adaptations and unpredictable biology, were something new, something dangerous, and now he had orders to destroy them if necessary. Zelthrak returned to the bridge, his decision made. "Power, weapons," he ordered. "Target the human vessel." Aboard the USS Defiance, Sensor Officer Samantha Gray detected the energy buildup in the alien fleet. "Lieutenant, they are powering weapons," she reported, her voice steady, despite the danger. Lieutenant Elaine Frost tightened her grip on her command chair. "All hands to battle stations," she ordered. "Activate the chameleon hull throughout the ship." Alarm signals flashed as crew members rushed to their combat positions. Engineer Kelly Winter's voice came through the communication system. "Chameleon hull online. Lieutenant Energy Absorption Systems ready." Tactical Officer Diane Russell moved her hands across her console with practiced precision. "Defensive systems active. All weapons ready. Communications." Officer Lori Dawson looked up from her. "Station Lieutenant, should I attempt to communicate with them?" Frost considered this for a moment. There was still a chance to avoid conflict. Yes, she decided. Open a channel. Before Dawson could establish communication, the first hegemony destroyer fired. A brilliant beam of energy shot across space directly toward the Defiance. The bridge crew braced for impact. Something unexpected happened. The energy beam struck the Defiance and seemed to disappear. The ship's hull glowed briefly where the beam had hit, then returned to normal. It worked. Winter shouted through the communication system. The chameleon hull absorbed the energy. "Redirecting to our systems now." On the hegemony flagship, Commander Zelthrak stared at the sensor readings in disbelief. The human vessel should have been severely damaged by that attack. Instead, it appeared completely unharmed. "Impossible," he muttered. "How did they survive?" Science Officer Vrilkax studied her console. "The energy from our weapon has been absorbed by their hull," she reported. "I detect no damage to their systems. Fire again." Ordered Zelthrak. "Use maximum power." 3 more hegemony vessels fired their main weapons. The energy beams struck the Defiance from different angles. The human ship glowed brighter with each hit but remained intact. Aboard the Defiance, the bridge shuddered with each impact, but the ship held together. Hull absorption at 87%, reported Winter's energy reserves increasing. "We can use their own weapons against them." "Return. Fire," ordered Frost. "Targeted, disabling shots only." The Defiance weapons powered up, glowing with the absorbed energy. The human vessel fired. Several beams of concentrated energy shot toward the hegemony fleet. The relatively primitive human weapons shouldn't have penetrated hegemony shields, but powered by the absorbed energy, they cut through the alien defenses like they weren't there. 2 hegemony vessels lost power, their engines disabled by the precise shots. On the Sovereign, might chaos erupted. As systems failed throughout the ship, shields are down reported. Tarsec communications array damaged, engineering reports. Critical systems failing. Xelthrak watched in horror as the human vessel fired again, this time targeting his flagship. The beam struck with surgical precision, disabling the propulsion system without destroying the vessel. "We are dead in space," announced Vrilkax. "Emergency systems are activating, but we cannot maneuver." "How is this possible?" demanded Xelthrak. "Their technology is inferior to ours in every way." Vrilkax analyzed the sensor data. "They are using our own energy against us," she explained. "The absorption properties of their hull allow them to capture and redirect the power from our weapons. The more we attack, the stronger they become." In the ensuing chaos, the humans scored direct hits on 3 more hegemony warships, disabling their weapons and propulsion systems. The remaining vessels attempted to regroup, keeping their distance from the surprisingly dangerous human ship aboard the Defiance. Lieutenant Frost watched the alien fleet with careful eyes. "They have stopped firing," she observed. "Are they surrendering?" "I do not think so," Lieutenant Russell replied. "They are regrouping. Changing tactics." Frost nodded. "Keep the chameleon hull active. Maintain battle stations communications." Officer Dawson turned from her station. "Lieutenant, I am receiving a transmission from the alien flagship." "Put it through," ordered Frost. The main screen changed to show Commander Xelthrak. His insectoid features were alien to human eyes, but his body language conveyed tension and surprise. "Human vessel, this is Commander Xelthrak of the Galactic Hegemony. Cease your attack. We wish to communicate." Frost stood tall, facing the screen. "This is Lieutenant Elaine Frost of the Earth vessel Defiance. You fired on us without provocation, Commander. We defended ourselves." There was a pause as the translation systems worked. Xelthrak seemed to consider his response carefully. "Your vessel possesses technology. We did not anticipate," he said. "We were concerned about the threat you represent." Frost kept her expression neutral. "We represent no threat to your people unless attacked," she said. "We seek peaceful relations with other civilizations." Another pause. Then Xelthrak spoke again. "Our scans reveal unusual properties in your species, Lieutenant Frost. Properties that concern us." "You mean our biology?" Frost said, understanding dawning. "Yes, we have been monitoring your scans. You seem very interested in how humans function." The alien commander seemed surprised by this admission. "You detected the nature of our scans?" "We did," confirmed Frost. "Now perhaps you can explain why you attacked us." Before Xelthrak could respond, a new energy signature appeared on the Defiant sensors. Lieutenant Gray turned from her station. "More alien ships are arriving. Their energy signatures match the hegemony vessels, but they are much larger." The main screen showed 5 massive warships emerging from faster-than-light travel. Their design was similar to the reconnaissance fleet, but their size and weapon systems were clearly superior. Xelthrak turned away, speaking to someone off-screen, then faced Frost again. "The High Council has sent reinforcements. Lieutenant, he said they wish to ensure the safety of our reconnaissance fleet." Frost understood the implied threat. These new ships had not witnessed the effectiveness of the chameleon hull. They might believe they could succeed where the others had failed. Dr. Harris had been analyzing the sensor data during the exchange, Lieutenant. She said quietly, "These new vessels have significantly more powerful weapons. The chameleon hull might not be able to absorb that much energy at once." Frost nodded slightly, keeping her expression confident. "We have no desire for conflict. Commander Xelthrak," she said to the alien, "but we will defend ourselves if necessary." The alien seemed to study her for a moment. "Your species is unlike any we have encountered, Lieutenant," said, "your biology, your adaptability, your response to threat. They all defy our understanding. Meanwhile, Engineer Winters was working frantically in the engine room modifying the chameleon hull to handle the increased threat. The absorption matrices were already strained from the earlier attack. She needed to redistribute the energy more efficiently or the system would fail under a concentrated assault from the new warships. Tactical Officer Russell was preparing alternative defense strategies. The Defiance had other experimental systems that hadn't been tested in combat, yet they might need all of them to survive this encounter. On the Sovereign, Might Commander Zelthrak received a private communication from High Counselor Zenvok's commander. The ancient alien said, "These humans must be contained. Their biological adaptations make them too dangerous to be allowed free access to the galaxy. The reinforcement fleet will destroy their vessel, while you withdraw to a safe distance." "But Counselor," Zelthrak began, "their defensive capabilities will be overwhelmed by the combined firepower of 5 capital ships." Interrupted. Zenvox, "This is not a discussion." "Commander, this is an order." Zelthrak ended the communication, turning to his bridge crew. "Prepare for emergency propulsion restart," he ordered. "We are withdrawing from the combat zone." Vrilkax looked up in surprise. "Commander, what about the humans? The High Council has decided they are too dangerous to be allowed to return to their homeworld. The reinforcement fleet will destroy them." Vrilkax hesitated. "I should inform you, Commander, that based on our scans of their neural patterns, these humans do not surrender easily. They become more dangerous when cornered." Exelthrak considered this information. "The High Council has made its decision," he said. "Our duty is to obey." Aboard the Defiance, Lieutenant Frost watched as the damaged Hegemony flagship began to move away, using what appeared to be emergency propulsion systems. "They are retreating," reported Gray, "but the other ships are moving into attack formation," added Russell. "The new arrivals are powering weapons. The energy readings are off the charts." Frost made her decision quickly. "Winters," she called through the communication system, "can the chameleon hull handle that much energy?" "Honestly, Lieutenant, no," came the reply. "Not all at once. But I have an idea. If we can absorb the first volley and use it to boost our shields, we might survive long enough to disable their weapons." "It's our best option," said Frost. "All crew prepare for impact. This is not going to be pleasant." As the 5 massive Hegemony warships moved into position, their weapon systems glowing with energy, Frost opened a channel to all decks. "This is Lieutenant Frost," she announced. "Brace for impact and prepare to return fire. Target their weapon systems only. We are not starting a war today. We are ending a battle." The first Hegemony capital ship fired. Its weapon was unlike anything the humans had seen. A beam of concentrated energy cut through space toward the Defiance. The chameleon hull glowed brightly as it struggled to absorb the massive energy surge. Throughout the ship, systems overloaded, emergency lights flashed. On the bridge, the crew held onto their stations as the vessel shuddered violently. Hull absorption at maximum capacity. Winters reported redirecting energy now. The Defiance weapons powered up, glowing with borrowed energy. The human ship fired back. 1 month after the encounter with the Defiance, the High Council of the Galactic Hegemony convened in their ancient chamber. The circular room was filled with representatives from all 7 ruling species of the Hegemony. High Counselor Zenvox sat in the center, her ancient form supported by a mechanical exoskeleton that compensated for her fragile physiology. "We have reviewed all data from the encounter with the human vessel," she announced, her voice amplified throughout the chamber. "The findings are disturbing." The massive display in the center of the room showed detailed scans of human biology, neural patterns, and physiological responses. Commander Zelthrak stood beside the display, his position as the primary witness, giving him the rare honor of addressing the full council. Humans evolved on a planet with extreme temperature, variations, high gravity, intense radiation, and countless predators. He explained, "Their bodies can process substances toxic to Hegemony species. Their immune systems fight off microscopic invaders constantly. They can survive losing limbs, massive blood loss, and can recover from injuries that would be fatal to any of our species." An elder from the Traxxas species raised a limb to speak. "How is this possible? No sentient species should be able to evolve under such conditions. Science Officer Vrilkax, who had been granted special permission to attend the council meeting, answered. The planet they call Earth is unique in our experience. It contains all the necessary elements for advanced life, but in a configuration that creates constant environmental pressure. Their evolutionary path required continuous adaptation. Another counselor spoke. Their physical capabilities, while concerning, are not unprecedented. It is their psychological makeup that truly disturbs me, Xelthrak nodded. Most species that evolve with aggressive traits lose their capacity for cooperation, he said. The two are usually mutually exclusive, but humans developed both. They maintain aggressive territorial instincts while simultaneously forming deep social bonds. These bonds drive them to extraordinary feats to protect each other, and when cornered, they become more dangerous rather than less. The council chamber fell silent as the members contemplated this information. For 10,000 years, the hegemony had ruled through technological superiority. They had never encountered a species with such biological advantages. What of their technology? Asked another. Counselor, is it as advanced as their biology? Vrilkax displayed the scans of the Defiance. Their technology is uneven, she explained. Their chameleon hull technology, which absorbs and redirects energy, is beyond our current capabilities. But most of their other systems are primitive by our standards. Yet they integrate these technologies, effectively adapting them to maximize their natural strengths. And their weapons? Asked a military representative. They disabled 5 of our capital ships without destroying them, replied Xelthrak. They could have annihilated our fleet but chose restraint. High Counselor Zenvox raised a gnarled hand, silencing the murmurs that had broken out. The question before us is clear. What do we do about these humans? For 10,000 years our policy has been to eliminate any species that might challenge hegemony rule. But these humans, they are different. Meanwhile, aboard the USS Defiance, Lieutenant Elaine Frost stood in the observation lounge looking out at the stars. The ship had returned to Earth after the encounter with the hegemony. Frost had spent 2 weeks in medical recovery, her broken ribs and internal injuries healing slowly. Now the Defiance was heading back to deep space. This time, as part of a diplomatic mission, Chief Engineer Kelly Winters entered the lounge carrying data tablets. Lieutenant, she said, I have the final modifications to the chameleon hull. Based on what we learned from the encounter with the hegemony, we've improved the absorption rate by 23%. Frost nodded. Good work, Winters. How are the other systems all repaired and improved? Winters replied, the crew has been working around the clock. The Defiance is more capable now than before. The battle. Frost turned. From the viewport, I received word from Earth Command. We are to proceed to the designated coordinates and make contact with the hegemony diplomatic vessel. Winters looked concerned. Do you think we can trust them, Lieutenant? Their first response was to attack us. Frost considered this. The hegemony has existed for 10,000 years, she said. They have never encountered a species like us before. Their scan results shocked them, and fear often leads to aggression. She smiled slightly, but we showed them something important. We showed them that humans cannot be conquered through force communications. Officer Lori Dawson entered the lounge. Lieutenant, she said, we are receiving a transmission from Earth Command. Admiral Blake wishes to speak with you. Frost nodded. Tell her I will take it in my ready room in her private office. Frost activated the communication system. The face of Admiral Carolyn Blake appeared on the screen. Admiral Blake was in her 60s with short gray hair and eyes that had seen decades of service. Lieutenant, the Admiral began. I wanted to speak with you before you depart on this diplomatic mission. What you and your crew accomplished against the hegemony was nothing short of miraculous. You showed them that humanity will not be easily conquered. Thank you. Admiral Frost replied. We were just doing our duty. Blake nodded. You should know that we have received additional intelligence about the hegemony since your encounter. Our analysts believe they have ruled the galaxy through fear and technological superiority for millennia. Any species that challenged them was eliminated. Your defense of the Defiance may have changed their entire approach to interstellar relations. What are my orders for this mission? Admiral asked. Frost. Blake leaned forward. You are to establish diplomatic relations with the hegemony. But remember, you represent not just Earth but all of humanity. Show them our strength but also our capacity for peace. Make them understand that we can be powerful allies or formidable enemies. The choice is theirs. I understand, Admiral, said Frost. One more thing, added Blake. We have assigned a diplomatic officer to your crew. Ambassador Nicole Carter will join you at the rendezvous point. She has been fully briefed on the situation. The Defiance departed Earth orbit the next day, heading toward the coordinates provided by the hegemony. The diplomatic mission would take them beyond the edges of explored space. The crew was tense but determined. Their encounter with the hegemony had changed them. They had faced an advanced alien civilization and survived. Now they would attempt to forge a peace that could change the course of galactic history. On the bridge, Lieutenant Frost reviewed the mission parameters with her senior officers. The hegemony has agreed to meet us at these coordinates, she explained. They are sending a diplomatic vessel, not a warship, that suggests they are sincere in their desire for peaceful relations. Dr. Harris, the science officer, looked skeptical. Based on the data we gathered about their society, they have never established equal relations with another species. Their entire civilization is built on domination. That may be true, Frost acknowledged, but they have never encountered humans before. We have shown them that their usual approach will not work with us. Tactical Officer Diane Russell studied the tactical display. Their diplomatic vessel will still be heavily armed. Lieutenant, she pointed out, we should be prepared for any possibility. Frost nodded. The Defiance will maintain full combat readiness throughout the mission, but we will not take aggressive action unless provoked. As the Defiance approached the rendezvous point, Sensor Officer Samantha Gray detected the hegemony vessel. Lieutenant, she called, the hegemony ship has arrived. They are maintaining position at the coordinates. On the main screen, the alien vessel appeared. It was smaller than the warships they had encountered. Before, its design was more elegant with fewer visible weapon systems. Open a channel, ordered. Frost Communications Officer Dawson established the connection. Hegemony vessel. This is Lieutenant Elaine Frost of the Earth ship Defiance. We come in peace. As agreed. The screen changed to show Commander Zelthrak. Lieutenant Frost, he said. It is good to see you again. I trust your injuries have healed. Frost was surprised that he knew about her injuries but kept her expression neutral. They have, Commander. Thank you for asking. Zelthrak gestured to an elegant alien beside him. This is Ambassador Velcor. She represents the High Council in these negotiations. The female alien stepped forward. Her exoskeleton was adorned with symbols of office. Lieutenant Frost, the High Council has reviewed all data from our encounter with your vessel. What we have learned about humans has caused us to reconsider many of our fundamental policies. Frost nodded. We look forward to establishing peaceful relations. Ambassador, our diplomatic representative will be joining us shortly. At that moment, Nicole Carter entered the bridge. The ambassador was in her 40s with dark skin and an air of quiet confidence. Lieutenant, she said, nodding to Frost. Frost introduced her ambassador. Carter represents Earth in these negotiations. Carter addressed the aliens directly. Ambassador Velcor, Commander Zelthrak. Humanity is pleased to open diplomatic relations with the galactic hegemony. We have much to learn from each other. Velcor seemed to study Carter carefully. The High Council has authorized me to propose a treaty. She said we wish to establish boundaries, exchange cultural and scientific knowledge, and discuss potential trade agreements. Carter nodded. These are all reasonable starting points, she agreed. As the diplomats began their discussion, Frost stepped back, allowing them to work. Her job had been to defend humanity and show the hegemony that humans could not be easily conquered. Now others would. Commander Zelthrak watched from a safe distance as the 5 hegemony capital ships engaged the lone human vessel. The Sovereign Might had withdrawn as ordered, but Zelthrak could not bring himself to leave the system entirely. Something about these humans fascinated him. Their response to threat, their adaptability, their sheer determination. All of it defied hegemony. Understanding. Science Officer Vrilkax stood beside him, still monitoring the battle. The human vessel is heavily damaged. Commander, she reported, but it continues to fight. The capital ships have lost 2 of their number to disabling strikes. Zelthrak could hardly believe what he was seeing. How is this possible? Their vessel is so small. Their technology so primitive, Vrilkax displayed the latest scan data. Look at their neural patterns during battle, she said. While our species becomes less efficient under stress, human brain activity actually increases these chemicals. She pointed to a section of the display. They are called adrenaline and norepinephrine. They flood the human system during combat, enhancing performance rather than degrading it. So the more we attack them, Zelthrak began, the more dangerous they become, confirmed Vrilkax. And there is something else. Their social bonds strengthen under threat. They coordinate more effectively. They take greater risks to protect each other. It is a biological response we have never encountered before, aboard the damaged Defiance. Lieutenant Frost was evacuating crew from a damaged section when the ship took another direct hit. The explosion threw her against a bulkhead, breaking several ribs. The searing pain shot through her body, but she forced herself to stand. Medical Officer Tina Roberts rushed to her side. "Lieutenant, you need medical attention," Roberts insisted, scanning Frost's injuries with her medical device. "You have 3 broken ribs and possible internal bleeding." Frost shook her head. "There are still crew members trapped in Section 7. She gasped. "We get them out first." Roberts tried to protest, but Frost was already moving. Despite her injuries, she helped drag 2 unconscious crew members to safety before refusing further medical treatment and returning to the bridge. Her uniform was torn and stained with blood, but her eyes were clear and focused. "Status report," she demanded as she lowered herself carefully into her command chair. Russell looked up from her tactical station. 3 of the enemy capital ships are disabled, she reported. 2 remain operational, but their attack pattern has become more cautious. They appear to be reassessing their strategy. Damage report, asked Frost. Winter's voice came through the communication system, sounding strained. "Hull integrity at 62%, chameleon. Absorption system operating at reduced capacity, engines at 70%. Weapons fully operational. Thanks to the energy we absorbed. Can we take 2 more of those ships?" Frost asked. Winters hesitated. "We're pushing the systems beyond their design limits, Lieutenant. They weren't built for this kind of punishment." "Then we adapt," said Frost firmly. "Just like we always have. Channel all non-essential power to the chameleon hull. Focus on absorbing energy from their next attack on the remaining hegemony." Capital ships, the commanders were growing increasingly concerned. The human vessel had already disabled 3 of their ships despite being vastly outmatched in size, and theoretical firepower. Fleet Admiral Yenkor of the lead capital ship opened a channel to Commander Zelthrak. "Zelthrak, what is happening here?" she demanded. "How is this primitive vessel defeating our most advanced warships?" Zelthrak chose his words carefully. "The humans have technology that absorbs and redirects energy. Admiral, their hull appears damaged, but their weapons remain at full power, using our own energy against us." Yenkor hissed in frustration. "And you did not think to share this information before we engaged?" "We attempted to transmit our findings," replied Zelthrak, "but the High Council ordered an immediate attack. They believed the combined firepower of 5 capital ships would overwhelm the human defenses." The Admiral was silent for a moment. Then she issued new orders to her remaining ship. "Cease energy weapon attacks," she commanded. "Switch to physical projectiles. The human absorption technology cannot redirect solid matter." The 2 remaining hegemony warships adjusted their tactics, launching salvos of hypervelocity projectiles toward the Defiance. The human ship attempted evasive maneuvers, but its damaged engines couldn't move it quickly enough. Several projectiles struck the hull, creating new breaches. "Projectile impact," Winters reported through the communication system. "Sections 3, 5, and 8 have hull breaches. Emergency containment fields are holding, but we can't take much more of this." Communications. Officer Dawson looked up from her console. "Lieutenant, I have been analyzing their communications. The translation is rough, but I think they realize our chameleon hull can't absorb physical attacks." Frost nodded grimly. "It's true. The chameleon hull only works on energy weapons." Winters, "Do we have any other options?" There was a pause. Then Winters replied, "We could try something crazy. Lieutenant, the chameleon hull has absorbed massive amounts of energy. We could channel it all into a single burst, essentially create an electromagnetic pulse. It wouldn't destroy their ships, but it might disable their electrical systems temporarily. How? Temporarily, asked Frost. Long enough for us to escape? Maybe, replied Winters. But there's a catch. We would have to divert power from life support. The temperature on the ship would drop dramatically and oxygen levels would decrease for about 2 minutes. It's risky. The bridge crew looked at Frost, waiting for her decision. The lieutenant stood wincing at the pain from her broken ribs. Do it, she ordered. Notify all crew to prepare for life support interruption. Medical teams stand by for hypothermia cases. Russell looked concerned. Lieutenant, with your injuries, the temperature drop could be dangerous. Frost met her gaze steadily. I'm human, she said simply. We survive. Throughout the Defiance, crew members prepared for the desperate maneuver. Oxygen masks were distributed to critical personnel. Others sealed their uniforms and prepared for the cold winters. Worked frantically in the engine room, rerouting power and preparing the systems for the massive energy discharge. The chameleon hull had absorbed enough energy from the hegemony weapons to power a small city. Now they would use it all at once on the hegemony capital ships. Admiral Yenkor was preparing to launch another salvo of projectiles when Science Officer Belrax noticed something unusual. Admiral, the human vessel is diverting power from life support systems, she reported. Their hull is building an unusual energy charge. What are they doing? Asked Yenkori. Do not know. Admiral, replied Belrax. But the energy readings are higher than anything we have detected from them before. It appears they are channeling all absorbed energy into some kind of burst. Yenkor realized the danger too late. All ships raise electromagnetic shields, she ordered. Aboard the Defiance. Frost gave the final command. Now, Winters, the temperature on the ship plummeted instantly. Frost could see her breath in the air. The pain in her broken ribs intensified as her muscles contracted in the sudden cold. The lights dimmed as power was diverted to the chameleon hull. Then the Defiance released all the stored energy in a single massive pulse. The invisible wave spread outward, striking the hegemony capital ships before they could fully raise their defenses. On the hegemony vessel, systems failed throughout. Lights went out. Artificial. Gravity fluctuated. Weapons went offline. Communications disappeared. Even life support systems struggled to maintain minimum functionality. Admiral Yenkor found herself floating in darkness on her bridge. Emergency lighting provided minimal visibility. As crew members tried to restore basic systems, they disabled us with our own energy. She realized the humans had turned the hegemony's greatest strength against them. On the Defiance, the crew endured the bitter cold and thin air. For 2 agonizing minutes they struggled to breathe as frost formed on every surface. Lieutenant Frost remained standing despite the pain and cold, her determination keeping her conscious when others might have succumbed. Then life support began to return. Systems reactivated throughout the ship. The temperature slowly rose and oxygen levels normalized. Did it work? Asked Frost, her voice raspy from the cold sensor officer. Gray checked her readings as they came back online. It worked. Lieutenant, the hegemony vessels are disabled. Their systems are rebooting, but it will take them several minutes to restore full functionality. Russell looked up from her tactical station. Weapons and engines are coming back online. We can escape. Now Frost shook her head. No, she said. We finish this. Communications Officer Dawson understood immediately. Opening a channel to all hegemony vessels, she said. On the main screen, the faces of the hegemony commanders appeared as their communication systems returned online. Frost stood tall, despite her injuries, and addressed them. This is Lieutenant Elaine Frost of the Earth vessel Defiance, she said, her voice steady. You attacked us without provocation. We defended ourselves. We could destroy your vessels now, but that is not our purpose. We came to explore, to learn to connect with other civilizations, not to conquer them. She paused, letting her words sink in. Then she continued. The battle is over. Your ships are disabled temporarily but will recover. We will withdraw from this area. But know this: humanity does not seek conflict, but we will not surrender when threatened. We adapt. We overcome. We survive. This is who we are. The hegemony commanders were silent, processing her words. Finally, Admiral Yenkor spoke. You are unlike any species we have encountered, Lieutenant Frost. Your biology, your technology, your tactics all defy our understanding. Frost nodded. Yes,